Welcome to a special episode of We Are Seek and Strike podcast. I am your host, Chris Walker, and today I'm joined by some special guests. Who do I got with me here?
Hi, everyone. My name is Lena Aggad. I'm a graduate student at the University of New Mexico, and I play as goalkeeper on UNM's women's club soccer team.
Hello, I'm Cecilia Munoz. I'm the center back for the women's club team, and I'm majoring in nursing at University of New Mexico.
Hi guys, I'm Callum. I'm the head coach of University of New Mexico women's soccer club team.
Right on. So it's really nice to have you all on this podcast today. UNM women's club soccer team in its second season now, correct?
More or less, yeah.
Right on. Well, 1.5 seasons. I understand. We'll get into that a little bit, but first, I really wanted to kind of get into a little bit of introductions. People may or may not know that UNM also has a women's club soccer team. I'm sure that every day you also kind of experience a little bit of the fact that you're telling someone about this club soccer team that maybe didn't know that there was that sort of team in existence as well, in a state that's so rich of soccer. So let's kind of go a little bit more into like each of your soccer stories. Lena, I'd like to hear your soccer story as far as how you got involved with this club and, what previous experience you have or even just your exposure to the game.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I've been involved with this club since literally day one, since the first day that we were chartered as an official organization at UNM. I started playing soccer when I was really young. It's kind of in my roots. Growing up Arab, everyone plays soccer. I mean, we call it football, but that's kind of how I started. And I played all throughout middle school and I played high school on my high school teams. And then I got injured in my senior year and I had to get surgery done on my foot. So I didn't play throughout college. I just kind of put that on the back burner, focused on school. And then we came up with the idea of starting a women's club soccer team. It was my senior year at the time. And I thought, this is perfect. It's not something too competitive, but it's competitive enough to where I get the feeling for games. I get to meet new people and practices and stuff. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I got started with the club. And it's one of the best decisions I've ever made.
Right on. And Cecilia, you're the captain, right, on the team?
Yes, I am.
And so, yeah, kind of going a little bit into your soccer story as well, like how you got, how you came into contact with this club, as well as, just a little bit of your soccer story leading up to this point.
Yeah. So this year is my first year on the team, actually. My freshman year, I had played on the intramural teams for UNM as well. So I kind of just wanted to kind of ease back into soccer a little bit. I started playing soccer when I was about 7, and I was just playing ever since. Played on club teams and played for my high school as well.
Right on. So coming from your vantage point, I mean, being the captain, and that's obviously such an honorable role, especially in coming from the first year on this squad.
Yes.
What has it been like so far? I mean, how did it come narrow down to you being the captain?
It's an amazing experience. I have been captain before on one of my club teams, so I've noticed the importance of leadership for the team, and then especially being the center back for the team. You need to make sure that you're really vocal out there and make sure that you're leading the team right. So I kind of just wanted to put myself out there on this team to show that I am capable, and I want to make a good point on this team and make sure that I'm talking a lot with all the teammates.
Right on. And Callum, man, you've definitely got that true thick Scottish accent.
Absolutely.
Right. So I understand this is your first year as a coach of this club team, So, and you have some previous coaching experience with AYSO United, right?
Yeah. So I started playing when I was 4 years old and played all my life. And then I came over to the United States about 6 years ago and worked with a couple of companies that communicated with AYSO, and that's how I get involved with those guys. And this year alone, I've became the director of coaching for AYSO United and the head coach for the UNM Women's Club Soccer team. So it's been a busy year for me. I've also just achieved my UEFA B license and my Bachelor's of Science degree for soccer coaching administration. So it's been incredible so far. And I know I've only played 2 games this past weekend, but I'm looking forward to developing this team more and see where we can go.
Right on. So let's talk a little bit about like the team's history. Like I know that the women's club soccer team kind of founded on the foundation of the men's club soccer team, as far as a little bit of they helped out as far as, you know, some of the things that needed to be done. What was like in the beginning of those days? What was the real importance of having the women's club soccer team, especially with an actual existing women's team on the campus as well?
I think I can take that question. So, okay, yeah, you are completely correct. So at the time, the ski team and the men's soccer team were cut off due to a lack of funds. And the only reason why the women's club soccer team stayed in existence, or not the club soccer team, but the D1 soccer team stayed in existence, was due to a Title IX requirement of the ratio of male-funded sports to female-funded sports. So if that rule didn't exist, then I would say 99% the women's team would have been cut as well. So, but not everyone can give as much dedication to a sport at the D1 level. There's a lot of us that would like to play, but maybe we can't travel for every single game, or we can't put as much commitment into practices. So that's where the idea of starting the club team came up. Yeah, piggybacking off of the men's, who just created their club team because they had no other option. So yeah, it worked really well. I mean, it turns out there's a lot of people like me who, yeah, school is the priority, but we just want something to play competitively and, like I said, meet new people. So that's how we started. It was back in 2019, fall of 2019, maybe spring of 2020, and it's been a success story ever since. We went from having like 10 to 12 players to almost 60 plus people trying out this season. So like I said, it's been a history in the making.
And Cecilia, talk about representing the cherry and silver, you know, even on the club level, and like what that's been like for these last 2 matches.
Yeah, it's been an awesome experience. And what Lena was saying, how it's a big dedication to, make sure that you're prioritizing school as well as, soccer as well. So that's why I think club for me just fits perfectly. And actually, my brother was on the D1 team on the men's for UNM. So it's a great honor to still, represent that of what he wanted to do at UNM. So I was able to do it for him and do the club team as well.
Yeah, and I guess this is a question open to both you and Lena, is like, as you're talking a little bit about, obviously, how you need to prioritize school, and, you don't have the ability to maybe make some of those other commitments to get on the road and such and so on and so forth, and what that demands. But I mean, I think it's still important to like hear from you as far as like, without having those sort of guidelines or provision in place, like, I mean, how hard is it, for you as just a student to be able to actually maintain your studies, because you don't necessarily have maybe folks like kind of coming behind you to kind of guide you, if you will, or I'm not sure how they have that set up, but I imagine there's less borderlines involved with that.
Well, that all comes down to our wonderful coach. He definitely allows us to prioritize school in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's not coming to practice, he just requires us to send a quick text or a quick notice before. Hey, I can't come. I have an exam tomorrow. Hey, and it's literally no questions asked. It's just a thank you. See you next time, Or, hey, I can't come to a game. Even if it's not school related, even if it's work or lifestyle, it's like, hey, I have this thing going on with my family. Hey, I work this time. It's no questions asked. You're all good. So that definitely like takes a lot of pressure off of us to show out. It means that when we show up to practice and when we show up to games, it's actually because we want to and not because anyone is forcing us to. So yeah, it gives us a good balance.
Yeah, and it's great that we can be really flexible with our schedules and, still try to do something that we love and try to continue that. It's definitely important to make sure that you start a routine down to know when to do your homework and when you can still go to practice and everything and still meet those games as well.
Right on. And Calum, uh, this is obviously your first time coaching a women's like club soccer team, but have you coached like any women's soccer, even or young women's soccer through AOSO, or is this like kind of the first time on the other side?
Yeah, I've been coaching for 8 years now, and it's been from all age groups, from 4-year-old to 19-year-olds. This is the first time I've coached an adult team though, with ladies over the age of 18. So it's been a bit of an experience for me. It's been eye opening just to see the different cultures and beliefs and religions and. At the school alone, and within the team, it's been amazing. So yeah, I've been enjoying it. I've been enjoying the time so far.
And I mean, and so to piggyback off of that, like, what kind of adjustments have you had to make with just taking in all of the different cultures, the beliefs, the different, the different ways, the time spent? Like, how has that, been for you? Like, what adjustments have you made?
So, I mean, Chris, I've got a massive roster. I've got 30 girls on the roster now. Like Lena was saying, I don't force anybody to come to practice or turn up to games. That's why I've made this massive roster and made it open to as many players as I can. And there's no pressure on them at all to go to games. So if they miss a game for an exam, I'm all for it. Hey, do your schoolwork first. That's more important. And then I can fill their spot with somebody else on the roster, kind of thing. But coming from Scotland to the USA, it's been amazing. It's been eye opening in terms of the whole race and religion thing. Because back home in Scotland, we don't have anything. We're just all white folks, So yeah, it's been incredible. It's been a roller coaster ride, but I'm enjoying it. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Lena, I know we kind of alluded to this earlier, but like, so the first season was kind of a half season, right? More or less, or it was a truncated season for the team. I mean, let's talk about a little bit of that first season, what it was like, maybe some of the memorable moments, that you could take away from that first season.
Yeah, definitely. So our first season, I wouldn't even call it a half. It was more of a quarter season because we weren't we weren't officially in any leagues yet. So we were just playing friendlies with whatever other club teams we could get to. So we played Fort Lewis, we played NAU, we played I also believe we played GCU. So we had three teams that we played. We played some of them more than once. I mean, I remember we played Fort Lewis away and we played them at home. So Fort Lewis was one of the best experiences because that was the first time we ever played as a team. And I remember the stress that led up to that game because we didn't have a coach or any type of leadership at the time. We had a coach come later on in that season, but at the time we had nothing. We were trying to get jerseys ourselves, trying to fund that. We're trying to figure out how we're going to get to the game. We ended up players just self-driving ourselves 4 hours up to Colorado. We're trying to figure out who plays what position, and it's like the players are trying to coach other players. So it was like such a headache leading up to it. But the moment we stepped on field, it was like everything kind of fell into place, and we ended up winning that game. So that was probably like the highlight of the whole season. That first game, all the stress leading up to it, and then just coming away with a W on the road. So yeah, and it went well. And then from there, we took some wins, we took some losses, we took some ties. And then also playing at home for the first time on Johnson Field, seeing that was true UNM culture because you had people just like walking home to their dorms, seeing a game going on. Obviously, us wearing the silver. So they're like, oh, which UNM team is this? And people just stopped and watched. That was also a very memorable moment. So yeah, that's kind of how that went. It was a very rocky beginning, but it turned out very successful. And I wish we got to play more. We had more games planned throughout the rest of the spring of 2020. But obviously, due to COVID, we had to cut all practices and all games. And then it's crazy because now those people that I only met for a few months, they're graduated and we're still really good friends from this team. So, yeah.
And that's awesome that you were able to make those connections because, I mean, as we've already talked, I mean, it's not just about the game, it's about the relationships that are formed. And so that's great that you can kind of form those lifelong friendships, if you will. Talk, I guess, more about like you were just saying, that students were coming home from the dorm and whatnot, and they're kind of checking out that there's this team. I mean, what has been the community's response, to the UNM Women's Club Soccer team? How have local businesses kind of like rallied, aside for you as far as what you're trying to do and accomplish?
So our biggest advocate has been word of mouth, obviously, because that's how we got as big as we are. You get one girl on the team and she has four other friends that play. She invites them to try out, and then those four friends have like three more friends, and that's how it branches out. But in terms of like local community and local businesses, we do a lot of fundraising with local businesses. I think it was just about 2 weeks ago, the day of the UNM NMSU game, we had a fundraiser with Cello Grill. We do fundraisers pretty often with Chipotle or with Satellite there, and Flying Star. So we use the local community a lot to help us gain our own traction and kind of advance us in a financial way. And they're always more than happy to help. I think the community really enjoys having a team that's like, I don't know how to say, like the D1 team, sometimes people think student athletes and stuff are more like superstars, I guess. And we're like more like down to earth, but like home vibes. I don't know how to explain it in another way, but it's like we're just some regular students that wanted to get together and play. And so people can relate to us more on that level because there's so many people that kind of had their dream taken away from them from playing soccer, whatever it was, whatever priorities they have, but now they have
Mhm.
the opportunity to play again. So I think we have a closer knit connection to the community than the UNMD1 team has. That's just my personal opinion. Other people may think differently, but I think we're closer to that community level.
Right on. And so Caleb, coming into this team culture, and obviously the team had existed a year prior, to you coming in, but then now you're here. What are some of the ethos and some of the vision that you've kind of brought forth for this team as you've put together this very augmented roster?
So, yeah, to be honest with you, I was shocked. Just learning that in 2019 they were only able to play, 5 games, and then not really having the backing from the university either, and having to outsource their own funding and not having the capability to play on university grounds sometimes, and having to travel out to Bernalillo. So my big thing now is that for the next step is to make the university really sit up and take notice of this team and try and get their backing and try and get as much support from them as possible, because the community's been incredible. The community's been helping us out left, right and centre. So if the university get on the same wavelength as us and really push this team forward, we could start going places. So that's my next mission is to reach out to the university and try and get their support.
Right on. So let's kind of talk a little bit about this season that you just kicked off. You just had a couple of matches in Arizona, right? You played GCU and then also you played ASU too.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yep.
I guess talk about just those matches now with a little bit of a newer squad. Lena, maybe kick in a little bit about what you see like on the pitch, like in front of you, because you'd probably have the best vantage point of new and old players coming together and what the chemistry looks like so far.
Okay, so yeah, definitely from a goalkeeper's perspective, it's very different from how it used to be. So, like I said, we had a very limited roster from before. We had at max 13, like 15 players coming to games sometimes. So you would have three or two subs. So you saw a lot of the same players performing the same way because they had to play with the same people. We had necessarily the same forwards, the same wingers, same midfielders, same defense. So people would always play in the same style. But now I'm really shocked to see, okay, we have the same midfielder that we had back in 2020, but she has a lot of old everyone around her is different. You know, the wingers are different, the forwards are different, the center back is different. And I see new talents coming up, new skills being brought out onto the field because it's so cool to see how players adjust to who's around them and people are able to play to other people's strengths. So that's really cool. I think that people get a more versatile, like well-rounded use of their skill instead of just used to, okay, she's fast, I'm gonna kick it up. Instead, like you have a center back that's really good at ball handling, so you know I'm gonna play it back more instead of just hitting it up the wings. It's cool. I see much more tricks, tips, and stuff being used rather than just straight, okay, this is the only option I have.
And Cecilia, I guess kind of comment a little bit on some of the same, but like, I guess from your vantage point, and like, I mean, I know both of those games they were kind of a 0-2 loss, so that can be hard. But I mean, how do you keep the team together, during those moments?
Yeah, so it's definitely, of course, important to make sure that we keep the team going the whole time, even though if we're tired or if we're down 1 or down 2 at that moment. But for me, I just think it's important just to keep positive the whole time. Even though if you have a couple mess ups, it's okay. Like we just got to keep going. Because in the end, the most important thing is that if we put our whole heart out in the game and it didn't come our way, then, at least that we know that we, did our best that we could just to try and keep going in that game.
So when you guys went out to Arizona, did you guys go out there like on a bus, or were you guys literally like just caravanning?
Yeah, we were pretty much just carpooling. We were just trying to find, a seat that was open in any of cars. So we kind of all came out sporadically when we got there.
So that right there has to be like, man, that has to be the rawest it can get, right? Because you're essentially doing whatever you have to do to get there. You like show up in like, I can't even imagine you said 30 folks. So like, like maybe like, what is that? Like 10-ish cars or so. So you're rolling in like in true fashion. You get to the pitch where you're playing these other teams that have probably been around for a little bit longer, right? They've probably been established a little longer. Like when you're playing these teams, like, is there ever a point when you're like, okay, I can't wait for the team to get to this point, or like, when you get to the pitch, like, like, is there like just like does that not really into your head? Like, what is that vibe kind of like?
I mean, it's hard. It's hard sometimes because you see these teams that have been established for 5-6 years already, and then we start turning up carpools all the way, 6-7 hour drive on the road. We get there, we're tired, we want to check into the hotel, then we need to go to the field. And then when we turn up to the field, we're taken aback by, the GCU. Their field was right in the middle of the campus, and there's people walking by, and there's the student dorms and stuff right there as well, and they can watch us from up there. So I think the girls were a bit taken aback with the environment they were playing in. In the first 10 minutes, it was a little bit shaky. I think the nerves kicked in a little bit. But after that, when they realised, hey, this is just a normal pitch, this is just our normal game, then they started playing their game, and I was really proud to see it in action. We've been working hard the last couple of months to get to this point, but I'm looking at other teams, and yeah, definitely, I'm like, a couple of years we could be there, we could be above their level. So yeah, it's really good. It's fun.
And I kind of want to make a quick note on that this is what I was talking about before, is that we're closer to our community. It's not that necessarily, oh, we were 10 cars going in. It's like people came with their parents. We came with our family. People, brought their brothers, sisters, cousins, and stuff like that. And that's the best part about all of this, is that it was literally like we felt like a family traveling together. So I don't think regardless of how established we are, how many years ahead we are, you're still going to have this type of environment of, yeah, drive up there with your family, drive up there with your parents, your boyfriend, whoever you want to take, So I actually like it.
Yeah, it's something I just really wanted to really touch upon and stress, because I mean, again, like not many people have, have chosen a route where you're essentially kind of going club amateur versus, like what is something more formal, right? And so like like very few do it. You could take the UNM club hockey team, right? Like that's a program that's existed in its time. It hasn't ever really been a program on campus. No matter whether they go to nationals or whatever they do, there's still that sort of fight as well within them. So they're definitely right there with you as far as, look, every time you go to the grocery store, you might be wearing the gear. Someone's like, "What's this team?" And you're like, "It's the club women's soccer team." And they're like, "I didn't know UNM had," right? Like that's probably the line for you guys. And so like you're going out, everyone's learning about this team, like you said, word of mouth. And I just think it's really important to stress that you guys are sacrificing a lot to make this happen, right? Because you're putting your own resources into it. Like you said, riding up there with your families, getting there however you can get there, and essentially, I mean, you have the opportunities to just go and leave it on the field. Like, yeah, all these other clubs have been around longer, maybe have nicer bags, nicer this and that. But when it comes down to it, it just comes down to the product on the pitch. That's just from listening to all of you. When you take those things away, it's just straight Lobo Women's Club Soccer, right? So, um, questions. So you mentioned you're doing fundraisers. So what are some of the things that what are some of the expenses that you guys are covering, like as a team right now, that these fundraisers are helping?
Yeah, it's expensive. It's really expensive. So you've got the cost of the kits straight away, the jerseys, and they can range from anywhere to $900 to $1,400-$1,500, and that's just one full home kit. So I wanted the girls to have at least 2 kits this year. So I outsourced that, and I went to AYSO United, and they were happy enough to fund our uniforms for us, and they covered those expenses. And then we found sponsors as well to go front and centre on the jersey, and they covered all the expenses of printing and putting the numbers on them. And then on top of that, you've got tournaments. So we've got a tournament coming up next week. We've got another one at the end of October, so that's another $1,500 right there to play in the tournaments.
Wow.
The league that we're playing in as well, that we just started, that's $1,500 to play in the league, and that's just the fall. That doesn't include what we're going to do in the spring. And then on top of that, you've got the travel expenses, the gas money, the hotel, and then you've got the food on the road, the team lunch, whatever you do. So you're running into like $5,000-$6,000 just to play in the fall. So fundraisers are coming thick and fast, and we're trying our best to get in communications with the community and get as much money as we can to fund the program.
What are some of the fundraisers you have coming up?
So we're working on the team camp. So we're starting up a 3-day camp for young kids, 6, 7, 8-year-olds, maybe a little bit older, to come along and one weekend and watch us play. And then after the game, do a little fundraiser with them, maybe $5-10, and you can have a penalty shootout against Lena, the goalkeeper, or you can have your face painted by one of the players, or take part in a little session that I can run, just to try and get that community build it and relationship going. And then from that, we've got Goalkeeper Sessions as well, starting next Monday. I've managed to book out Johnson Field, so that's going to be open to all AYSO United players. They're going to come along, and the UNM girls are going to be there and help run that program. And then we're going to split the costs, split the profits at the end, to help us, throughout the season. And then we've got, other fundraisers with some breweries. They're happy enough to give us a percentage of their spend or their profits from a certain time range. So it's just, it's busy, it's hectic, but it's a lot of fun to see it all come together and on the field especially.
Now, how how can locals like see you guys play? Because I know that you're listed as home games, but there's a lot of TBA, so it's really hard to get the space. Or like, are there possible home games that are coming that are like within Albuquerque?
Yeah, we've got 3 home games on the schedule. So they'll definitely be played in Albuquerque. The venues to be confirmed right now. We're trying to work with UNM to give us on campus, maybe Robertson Field or Johnson Field, or even inside the dome, just to let us play on campus rather than travelling out to Bernalillo. So yeah, there's definitely going to be home games. Timings are still to be confirmed, but yeah, we'll definitely be playing at home, and we'll try and attract a big crowd just to make it rowdy and then try and throw off the opponents.
Now, Lena and Cecilia, like, what are some matches you're looking forward to on the schedule?
Well, a match that I'm looking forward to, in general, all the home games, they're all fun to play. But a match that I'm looking forward to is the GCU Black team, I believe, or the purple team. So they have 3 tiers of their team, kind of like hard, medium, easy. And so we played their medium team at the road. And I would say, although it was a loss, I would say skill level was pretty even. So I think we have about a month or so to train more, practice more, and then to kind of see how we match up against the hard level team. I'm kind of excited to see how far we can come in a short amount of time, and I really believe that we can be a good match for them by that time.
Yes, I'd have to agree with Lena. Definitely in that first home game that we have, October 2nd, I believe it is, with that GCU team. Definitely with the first game that we had this past Saturday against the middle GCU team. I really saw a lot of potential throughout the game, and it was amazing to see how much like we were able to actually start connecting with each other. So I'm just excited to do that again on our home field and get to represent more and show the community.
Right on. What are some ways that the team has kind of bonded, and since you've kind of come together? I mean, because I know again this is about family, it's about relationships. So, what are some things you guys have done to bond together?
So we've done things on and off the field. Obviously, at practice, it's not all strict, strict, strict. I mean, we goof around, we joke around, and we have fun with each other. I mean, the coach throws around jokes all the time as well. But off the field, we've done things, especially UNM spirit related things. So the very famous rivalry NMSU versus UNM football game. A like a dozen of us attended that together, along with the Red Rally, which is the burning of the Aggie that happens before. There was about a dozen of us went to that together, and we hang out outside of the field. Some of us have realized we have similar majors. I'm someone that's in graduate school, and there's a player on our team that's a sophomore in my same field of degree. So I've kind of been helping her out, guiding her. Take this professor, don't take this one. So it's like school related stuff. We've been communicating through that. Some people tutor other players in a way. So we've made those connections. We're not just 30 players. We've actually become 30 friends. There's like we connected really easy, not just over the love for the sport, but I think all of us are really cool people and we're just easy people to get along with. So yeah, definitely there's been bonding and we have more bonding planned. I know some of the players are talking about like going to skiing during the winter months or going to more games, other sporting events, maybe going cheering on the D1 team at a home game and stuff like that. So we already have a lot of plans to hang out and stuff.
Yeah, and then along with the fundraisers, we try to make sure that we're going together as a team, and make sure that we're representing UNM. And it's awesome what Lena was saying, that you really make some good connections here on this team and some great friends. Most of my friends that I have created were from soccer, so it's definitely not always on the field with those friendships.
Tell us a little bit about match day tradition, or maybe new traditions that you're starting. What does that look like? Take us inside that circle.
Well, I would say on the road, something that is probably going to become a tradition is I think Coach was talking about it, those group meals. So this past weekend we had a group breakfast before our game versus Arizona State University. So that might become a tradition. Before every game, we have a cheer that we do. That's a very common tradition. We also do that at the end of practices. Um, I don't really know. It's a little early in the season to kind of nail down some traditions. I don't really know what was a one-time occurrence and what is going to be a reoccurring thing yet, but I don't know. We'll see. To be determined.
To be, yeah, I'm sure we'll have you back on, so we'll definitely be wanting to know what transpired. Callum, do you miss having access to Haggis or what?
Absolutely, I miss it, man. And speaking to the girls, they don't even know what it is. So, yeah, maybe that can be a tradition, Chris. Maybe I can bring some haggis over and get them all trying it. Get a little video of it as well. Send you it.
Yeah, I was, I was as I was bringing you on, I was like, okay, this guy is like full on Scottish, so he's got to be missing haggis. But I mean, look, you're getting an excessive amount of green chili here.
Oh no, it's crazy.
Something that you don't have there.
No, I can't handle that. We don't do spicy back home. It's been it's been an emotional roller coaster. I'll let you know.
Right on. So something I just recently got into, and I'm sure I'm probably late amongst the four of us, but have you ladies been watching Ted Lasso at all? No.
No, I haven't.
Callum, have you been watching Ted
Lasso? I'm with you. Yeah.
Okay. See, I thought I was late to the party, but apparently there's still other people who haven't seen Ted Lasso. So, ladies, that's going to definitely have to be a bonding assignment for you this season. Is to someone sign up for that free 3 months of Apple TV and watch Ted Lasso as a group, so you have maybe other moments when you can bond and quote the show together, and I'm sure there's probably going to be some match day traditions that are coming out of that.
Yes, we'll definitely have to start that.
Well, I really want to kind of get your final thoughts, maybe call outs, maybe anyone who's listening to this, whether they just be the avid soccer watcher, maybe it's someone who has a business and is looking to maybe find out how they can support you all. I mean, I guess just this is a moment, like, say maybe what's on your heart, what you want to share with anyone who's listening about UNM Club soccer team, about how they can get or come alongside you and help out, with maybe some of the sponsorships and just anything else that's out there.
Okay, I guess I can start with that. Just talking to those people watching, we are definitely a soccer team in need of any and every type of support. Like you said, whether it's some type of sponsorship or even coming out to games and things like that. So whether it's financial or physical and like vocal support, we will take anything and everything. You can contact us. You can contact either CC as the captain to kind of get more information, or the coach. Contact them, their emails or whatever it may be, to figure out how to donate. We're always taking donations, no matter what the form is. We can always use that support. And then just on top of that, I mean, let people know that we exist, I guess. Let people know that we're here and we're playing and we represent UNM and we have a good thing going for us. I guess that's pretty much all I'd have to say. And yeah, go Lobos.
CC?
Yeah, so the same thing with Lena. We have a really good connection with this team, and we all would appreciate any help that we have for the community out here in New Mexico, and especially, New Mexico is really big with soccer. So, it would be good to kind of get this club teams a lot bigger and more known out here in Albuquerque.
And it's like a trade-off, there's smaller businesses that want to be recognized. For some money, we'll slap your name on anything, like whatever it is, a jersey, a bag, a warm-up. Like, we got you and you got us, two-way street.
Callum, what would you like to tell those watching this podcast currently and those that will hear it in the future?
Yeah, just I want to say, hey, if you haven't heard of us yet, you will, because this club is growing and this club is going places. And businesses, small businesses, local businesses, get behind us. Like Lena said, we'll slap your name on everything. So anything at all, we can do it. Let us advertise you as much as you guys can advertise us. To all the players that may be watching that are coming from high school and stepping into the University of New Mexico, we're here from you. We're here for you. We'll hold tryouts if you still want to continue on your soccer journey. Let us know, and we could definitely facilitate that. We're looking to grow this club into even more than just one team. Maybe get 2 or 3 teams behind us. And to the university, if any of you guys are watching, get behind us, help us out. We are representing you, so help us do it.
Right on. And you can find the more about UNM Women's Club Soccer at Instagram at UNM Women's Club Soccer is the handle. The website is also, does anyone have the website on them?
It's UNMWomen'sClubSoccer.com.
There it is. Callum's like quick between the sticks. All right. So, ladies, Callum, I've really enjoyed having you all on this special edition of We Are Seek and Strike podcast. Really just introducing the UNM Women's Club Soccer team. I think it's important that we get a signal boost out on the program, kind of help out with the word of mouth and, continued coverage to kind of have folks tune in, so they can come out and support you all. Definitely good luck on your next games in Colorado. And, we'll be looking to talk with you soon. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in who's watching live and those that will hear the episode on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Until next time, this has been We Are Seek and Strike podcast, and we're out.